Welcome to the show, the Arsenal Alliance, with superstar YouTuber, my very loyal guest, Anthony Herbert. How you doing, sir?
I'm not too bad, Lee. Not too bad. Looking
Good,
forward to
good, good.
tonight's show and chatting about our club as always.
As always, yeah. Well, listen, we finally beat Newcastle. We're gonna touch on that in the fourth attempt. You know what I mean? It took us four attempts to
Yeah.
beat them this season. Good side this year they are. But let's get rid of the elephant in the room. Spurs beating United at Bilbao last night, 1-0 to win the Europa League, which qualifies them for the Champions League, which, it's been that way. If you win the Europa League, it's been that way for a while. Uh, but was it an easier route for them? I don't want to, because it's Spurs. People are going to say you're only saying it because it's Spurs. But I mean, there's no teams dropped out of the Champions League into it this season for the first time. So did they have an easier run? Possibly. Did you see any Arsenal fans wearing Man United shirts, praying for Man United to beat Spurs? You didn't see that. Didn't
No.
see any of that at all. Not like what the Spurs done last season when they played Man City. Spurs fans were wearing Man City shirts. When Man City scored, they was doing the Poznan dance at White Hart Lane of all places. Oh, mate, it was an absolute disgrace from them last season. But they, for all fairness, give them their flowers for winning the Europa League. But do they deserve Champions League? They could have been relegated. We could have had a championship team going into the Champions League next season. And I would, in my opinion, I thought if that they've got to have some sort of stipulation on that. I know they didn't get relegated; they was 10 points away from it or something, but they still finished either 16th or 17th. I can't remember which way round they are. Man United and Spurs, 16th and 17th in the Premier League in the final of the Europa League. Does it take any credibility away from it? There's things we want to ask the chat. Do they deserve their Champions League spot? The jury's out a little bit with that, but we know that was a stipulation, part of the prize of winning it. And you know, it's an hard pill to swallow. Did they have a better season than Arsenal this year? Because they won a trophy and they got the prize as well of finishing in the Champions League, the same as that we did, finishing runners up. That's a debate for the show. So go to the chat and see who's there. We've got Lawrence Emmanuel from Los Angeles. How you doing, Lawrence? Nice to see you for the first time in the chat. I think I've seen you on Instagram. I think that was you. We will be letting guests come on and have their little say if they want to come on. I will put the link into the chat and let some guests come. I believe Lawrence might want to come on and have a little say. But what do you think of it, Anthony? What do you think of this Tottenham qualifying for the Champions League? Were they deserved winners of the Europa League? Was it an easier run for them because of obviously the new format of the Champions League means no one dropped down from the Champions League into the Europa League. So did that make it easier for anybody to win the Europa League this season?
Well,
Over
yeah,
to you.
it looks like it, but I'll be honest with you, Lee. It's like what I said before we come on when Arsene Wenger when he was on a panel. He was doing I think it may have been a Champions League or Europa League game. Forget what game it was, but then he was asked a question. Whoever wins the Europa League, should they go into the Champions League? And he said no. That was his own opinion. That he said no. He said if you win the Europa League and you finish in the top four or top five now, as it is this season to qualify for the Champions League, he said, yeah, I get that, right? But he said if you win the Europa League and you win that, you win a European trophy, then you go into the main one, which is the Champions League. That he didn't agree with that. I understood that to a certain extent, and I did. I told you that before we went live. And then obviously, as you know now, it's like, you touched on it. Obviously, what I said, before we went live, when you're in the Champions League, there's no stepping down into Europa League now. Once you're out, and that's it. And I believe, like, there should be a bit of fairness. But in all fairness, you look back years ago, the Champions League was for the team who won the Premier League. Who won the league in all the all the leagues around the world, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
that
In
was
Europe.
what it was confirmed. Then it was two. Then it was the top three. Now top four. Now they've made it top five. So obviously, there's going to be more games for next season in the Champions League. We all know the reason why, because it's all to do with that, the money.
Yeah.
But I got a question to ask you, Lee. Tottenham, they've won the Europa League, they've qualified for the Champions League, and also they had a crap performance within the league. Where have they finished now? Is it something like what? Is it
16th or
15th,
17th. I
16th?
can't remember which way round it is.
Okay, say 16th, 17th, that's fine. My question is to you, did they have a better season than us, Arsenal Football Club, knowing that they've won a European trophy,
Yeah,
right?
they
And
have.
they've gone into the Champions League. Have they had a better season?
Well, this is the only they've won a trophy, so straight away they've had a better season. They qualified for the Champions League, so have we. But they finished in 16th or 17th. Did they deserve the Champions League? No, they don't deserve it, but they won it. They won the Europa League. They've got a trophy. They've got a European trophy. Mate, even when West Ham won their conference trophy, European Conference League thing, they still won a trophy that season. We didn't. I believe they had a better season. It's because it's about winning trophies. And this season, especially Tottenham, of all fucking people, have won the Europa League. They've won a trophy before us.
Yeah.
And they've qualified for Champions League. Let's welcome Lawrence to the show. How you doing, Lawrence? Nice to meet you.
Likewise. Yeah, I'm in mourning, mate. It still hasn't sunk in that those scumbags from down the Seven Sisters Road have won a trophy.
Yeah.
I just can't take it. I hate it. And I just watched Mikel Arteta's press conference before the game on Sunday.
Yeah.
And a reporter asked him about this. She asked him, who's had the better season out of him and Ange? And I'm a expert. I hate to blow my own trumpet, but I'm an expert in body language. And even though he said, "Oh, I don't care what they do. I don't care about what," you could see by the look on his face he was pissed.
Yeah.
You could see that.
What do you mean, angry or drunk?
It could have been both. I mean, no, I mean, he felt. I mean, the look on his face was of someone who knows that he's failed this season.
Yeah, absolutely failed. Look how far away we was from Liverpool. Look how far away we was, and compared to last, we was a better team last season. Even though with the 2 additions or 3 additions to the squad in the summer, the crap additions at that, no striker, which is fucking scandalous.
Yeah.
We was a better team last year. We played much more better football, much more attractive football. We was more dynamic, more direct, scored more goals, won more games, lost less games, drew less games. We was a better team last season. I just can't get my head around it. We're supposed to be going through stages of progress. We've regressed.
We were a better team the season before.
We were top of the league for most of the season.
We were 8 points clear.
Yeah.
I can't remember, with about 4 or 5 games left.
Yeah,
and
it was about April.
We dropped
March or April.
Yeah. And we dropped points against Liverpool and West Ham.
West Ham, yeah, I remember. And Southampton, we drew 3-3.
That's right. 3-3 with Southampton, and then we lost against I think it was Brighton 3-0. Was
Fulham,
it?
I believe, as well.
Yeah.
Fulham,
Fulham was in there.
Newcastle.
Newcastle.
I mean,
yeah.
this is what I keep telling people. You know, I mean, can you name any other profession that would keep somebody in a job for 5 years and he doesn't do what he's paid to do?
No.
No.
I mean, I wish somebody would pay me 15 million a year and I'd sit on my arse all day doing fuck all. Excuse me, but
Yeah, it's all right.
you know, it's. I don't know how this guy is still in a job. Any other club would have kicked him to the curb by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have. They would have. I totally agree with that. Do you know what? When we first signed Mikel Arteta, when he first come in, yeah, I didn't want him, and I still don't. I'm not Mikel Arteta in. I'm Arteta out. Right?
Yeah.
We've been on shows with all that as well. Obviously, all right, we know Jez and all that. You know, they're not the biggest fans of Mikel Arteta, and neither am I. But what I'm actually trying to say is, you were right what you said. £15 million a year he's on in wages. Now, I tell you what, this season, I'm just going to gently just run for the team slightly, right? £15 million a year. We've got a captain who's not a fucking captain in Martin Odegaard.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And people say, oh, he shouldn't be, a captain's not verbally, he doesn't speak. Well, of course a captain speaks. If a captain sees something that's piss poor, that's happening on the pitch, the captain's got the right to pull him up. Yeah. So why the hell if we've got Mikel Odegaard is still as captain, which it should be Declan Rice, by the way. The other thing as well, still on Martin Odegaard, he has been absolute shit this season. Shit. So why can't Mikel Arteta see that, drop him to the bench, and bring in Nwaneri? What is that young boy got to do to get into that team? And now Mikel Arteta said, when this season started, oh, we're going to start introducing product youth, right? The only youth guy that's been played is Skelly, right? Brilliant player. I love Skelly the Brit, brilliant player. But what is that Nwaneri got to do? There's talks now that I've read, right? Nwaneri, he could be leaving at the end of this season.
Yeah.
There's a possibility of that. Right. So what I'm trying to get across is why can't this manager see things? I mean, they've already had an argument. Our new director, Berta, and Mikel Arteta, they've already had a falling out.
Yeah.
Berta wants Gropperez, Arteta wants Sesko, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad they had the falling out because that's what you want. That you want that there. What that is, I want Mikel Arteta knocked down a peg or two. Because it ain't all about him. This is Arsenal Football Club. It's not fucking Arteta Football Club. Right? That's a fact.
Exactly.
Right? And then
this is what.
Go on.
Sorry, I didn't mean it. This is what I keep telling people online. All these, I call them plastic deluded AKB ostriches, right? Because I don't know if you remember when Wenger was on his way out. There was this group of fans that were known as AKBs. Arsenal knows best.
Yeah.
And it's now come back as Arteta knows best, right? And I call them ostriches because, like the ostrich, they've got their heads buried so far in the sand that they've lost touch with reality. They wear these things on their face called Arteta tinted specs because, according to them, we've got Super Mick Arteta. He knows exactly what we need, like fuck he does. I find that the most condescending song that our fan base sings, right? And like you, Anthony, I've been following this club since 1968. And on the front of my Arsenal shirt, you see a cannon, right?
Yeah.
Do you see a Spanish clown on there with his name above it?
No, I'll tell you something, right? Let me tell you this. Let's just say hello to our AFC Vigilante. Big bless yourself up, AFC Vigilante. Lawrence has told you about the channel. Listen, stick a like on the video for me. Subscribe if you ain't already. Yeah, this is what we do every Thursday. It has been hit and miss this season, but we're back now. We're going to be doing these every Thursday. I do uploads as well. I don't know if you've seen any of my video uploads. There's short clips from there's over 1K videos altogether on the channel, going back 3 years. So we've been going 3 years.
Yeah.
But you know, thank you for watching anyway. And I just wanted to pick up on the point what you said about that badge. We've got a regular viewer. He ain't in the chat yet, but AFC always, and he's got on his profile picture. It's Arteta's face with Ronald McDonald's makeup.
Yeah,
you know, like a clown. As
yeah,
you
I've
said,
got
he ain't
that
got
as
the
well.
clown on, but it just reminded me of it.
It is. He's a clown. He's a fraud, you know. And I see pictures. I've never been to the Emirates myself, you know. I mean, I've lived out here for nearly 35 years. I've never been to the new stadium, right?
Yeah.
But when they show a game from there, right, and they show the outside of the ground, right, all I see is Emirates Stadium. I don't see Arteta Stadium on the side,
No.
you know.
Mm.
And this is the problem we've got with this arsehole. He thinks he's bigger than this football club. This is a club that's been. This is a club that's been around for nearly 140 years. It wasn't formed by him in 2019.
Yeah.
Right? It's just this guy is so full of himself. He's a narcissist. He's arrogant. He's petulant. He's stubborn. Right?
Yeah.
And like Anthony said, I didn't want him at the club at all. You know, because giving him that job was like you winning a brand new Ferrari in a lottery. And as soon as the car salesman gives you the keys, your 17-year-old son is tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "Dad, can I take the car out for a ride?"
Yeah.
Are you going to give him the keys?
No, you're not, are you?
Yeah. So this is what this journey has been. It's been a 5-year joyride.
Well, what he's
And
had,
to
what he's
just
done. Sorry, carry on. Sorry, Lawrence.
Yeah, I was just about to say about Waneri. I've got it on good authority that he's fallen out with Arteta. He's thrown his toys out the pram because he's not getting the game time, and he showed up late for a training session. That's why. That's why Arteta's not playing him. And we've also, while I'm on the subject, he's got 3 22-year-old kids on the bench. That he will not give game time to.
Yeah.
At 22, you should be establishing yourself in the first team. But we've got Butler, Odeji, Gower, and Henry Francis that haven't kicked a ball in anger for us for the first team. And yet he sticks them on the bench every game when they could have been playing in these meaningless end-of-season games to prove themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And, you know, there's some decent players at the academy at Hale End. There's another player, I can't remember his name. I think he's about 16. They're all raving about him. A midfield player.
Sorry?
Matt Dalman. That's the one. Max Dalman. Yeah, that's the kid. They're all right. They're talking about him. He's 15 or 16.
Yeah.
They're all talking about him. There's pundits talking about him. Like there was I can't remember who it was now. It might have been Ray Parlour. It was someone. I can't remember exactly who it was. But then I searched him up. I searched up some reels of him. He looks unbelievable. And he's that young. Is he going to hinder his progress? It's when I'm going to be so fucking pissed off. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I was gutted when he sold Emil Smith Rowe, but Emil Smith Rowe started to regress under him. When he was playing with Saka, the Status Quo song, Saka and Emil Smith Rowe, the Emirates was a light. They was brilliant together. And he sold him.
And
he stopped playing him.
And now
he got a little injury, and he stopped fucking playing him. And for whatever reason, he just would not would not bring him on. He came on as a sub a couple of times, changed games, scored goals, scored a winner. I think who did he score a winner against last season? He came off the bench and scored a winner or an equaliser. It might have been. I can't remember, but he still sold him. I cannot believe it.
And now you understand.
Sorry, mate.
And now you understand. Sorry. Now you understand why the likes of Balogun, Martin, and Heaven left the club, because they can't get game time with us because of this fucking clown.
Balogun I see him play 4 or 5 times. I think I see him play in the youth setup. He was twice a player Eddie Nketiah was, and he said he's got to sell one of them. Remember, and he wound up selling Balogun, and then what's Nketiah done since? Fucking nothing. He ain't even done nothing at Palace. He scored the other day.
He won an FA Cup, and he scored 2 goals against Wolves the other night.
Wolves, but I mean, all season he ain't really cut. AFC always in the chat. Look, he's changed his profile again. That was Ronald McDonald on his with an Arteta faith. Now he's got just a red cross. It looks like through Arteta's image on his profile picture. 34 different managers has won something since Arteta. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
That's that there, isn't it? Arteta and his deluded fanboys have disgraced our football club. Absolutely, mate. Arteta's disgraced it. I mean, I don't like having to go to fans. Right, fans can like it. They're Arsenal fans still. Don't matter. I don't like having to go to fans, but I mean, the fans is what make Arsenal. The fans, whether you like them or not. But I don't like having to go to fans. But Arteta's disgraced.
But the fans, these fans, right, who worship this Messiah, you know, they are the real problem, right? They are the real problem.
They're not calling it
I mean, I've had so many bust-ups with them, right? I had one woman who used to appear on AFTV when it first started.
Yeah.
Her name was Jeanette Faulkner.
Yeah.
She came back at me on Facebook when I said I wanted Arteta out, and said, "We do not need fans like you. You're just a glory hunter. If you want to see trophies, then go support Liverpool and Man City instead."
What?
I like to say. That's what she said.
For fuck's
sake. Go
and
support Liverpool, Man City, because I'm a glory hunter in her eyes. You know, she prefers to watch entertainment. You know, because she's happy to watch us play entertaining football, which we're not at the moment, and happy to finish 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th, because we all know you get a trophy finishing in those spots, don't you?
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And I'm the plastic.
It's unbelievable.
You know,
since 2020, if the Premier League table was based on trophies, Arsenal would be 9th. AFC Vigilantes bigging up AFC always. Excuse me. Let's just go through the chat quick, and then let's go and have a little chat about the Newcastle game. Finally beating them after I've just been through this chat. The messages. Tottenham Open Top Bus Parade is tomorrow. Apparently, they will parade the Europa League trophy past the Emirates Stadium. Well, I hope they do, because they get handed, mate. I hope they do. They get things thrown at it. They can't do that. Just stay on your own side of North London, mate.
Well, they're that desperate because it's their first trophy in 17 years.
You didn't see any Arsenal fans wearing Man United shirts, did you? Like you was all wearing Man City shirts last season. Jamie O'Hara's the main culprit. When Man City scored against Spurs last year, or was it last year? It was last year, wasn't it? They was doing the Poznan celebration for the Man City goal at White Hart Lane. That's the kind of fan base they've got. So let's just be like grateful. We're not Tottenham. We're not like the Tottenham. Let's just be grateful.
Even that pissed off Postecoglou.
Yeah. He always said he wins in his second season. He said that.
Yeah.
He said, I always win something in my second season. AFC always. If those scumbags go past the Emirates, Arteta needs to watch. We will see what a trophy looks like. Will be the closest he will come to a trophy. Oh, this is the closest Arteta will come to a trophy. That's the point they're trying to make, I suppose. Arteta's going to be sacked anyway. This Andrea better. Apparently, he's not going to
You
take.
can see it happening.
Yeah,
you can see it
Yeah,
happening. People
yeah,
say he's got. People say he's got until Christmas, but I don't think it will last that long. If we get off to a poor start, right? I think Berta has been put in there to fire him because this bloke has a lot of clout, and I know for sure that he's mates with Diego Simeone.
yeah.
And as soon as Arteta, as soon as Arteta puts 1 foot out of line, he's out the door, and Simeone's coming in.
Let's hope so.
I said that. Lauren. Yeah. Did you know what? Next season depends. Obviously, we know Mikel Arteta is going to be here, right? Obviously, that's a fact. But what keeps Mikel Arteta in a job is A, what players are going to be coming in and what players are going to be leaving next season. And also, he's got to deliver. Now, the last 2 seasons, I wanted the Premier League and an FA Cup. That's the 2 that I wanted. So now, next season, I'm going to say I want the Premier League and the FA Cup. And if he throws all domestic cups in a bin, right, and he doesn't win that league, and also, I think, to be honest with you, I can't see us winning the Champions League. It'd be great if we could, but I can't see it. If not, he's got to go. And that's it. That's the end of. He's got to go. But what I'm saying is, with this first falling out, this is Mikel Arteta's first strike with their argument. What he doesn't realise is his job is in Berta's hands. So if he steps a foot wrong or he's not producing what he should be producing, and that's a trophy next season, he could turn around and say, right, Mikel Arteta, you're gone. Piss off.
Yeah.
And he can.
Do you think that's why they didn't spend any money in January? Because they knew this deal was happening with Berta. They knew that was something that they must have known before they've announced it and before it's come to fruition.
I actually read on the Arsenal website that Mikel Arteta did actually have 60 million to spend in January. 60 million.
I'm not being on it just so because he's spent enough money and he's bought enough shit.
He has bought enough shit. But it's like with the Cronkies. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I know people slag off the Cronkies, but when you look at it, you go back, the Cronkies has actually backed him.
Yeah, they have. Of course they have.
I mean, this manager has spent 850 million since he won that FA Cup when he took over from Unai Emery. He won the FA Cup that season, spent 850 million, bought all his team in, all his players, there's all his team, right? Apart from Kieran Tierney and Martinelli and Saliba, right? Yeah. Those 3 are Unai Emery's players, right? Yeah. So, in all fairness, he spent all that money on his own players, and what's he won, and what has he got? Well, what's he got to show for it? He's got nothing.
Yeah.
So,
you know what I mean? You forget. He won 2 community shields. Remember, he mentioned that.
I see that.
Yeah.
And I'm just amazed he didn't mention the Emirates Cup wins.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't mention the Emirates Cup wins either.
Yeah.
What an absolute fucking melt mentioning the Charity Shield trophy. When someone pressed him about trophies, you only won one FA Cup. He went the charity. Not what's it called? Community Shield. He went 2 community shields.
It's a dinner plate.
About the fucking size of the football on one of his press conferences in one of the games. I can't remember who it was against. Oh God! He moaned about something else. Ridiculous.
Do you remember Roy Keane actually said that one team won the Community Shield, and he said, "Bloody hell!" He said, "If you're counting, the Community Shield as a trophy, then from the start your team's in trouble." And that was Roy Keane's words.
And those two those 2 victories in the Community Shield were on penalties.
Yeah.
We couldn't
Yeah.
beat Liverpool, Man City in 90
Man City,
minutes.
yeah.
It had to go to penalties.
I mean, we beat Man City this season. Was it 5-0 or something? 5-1? What was
5-1.
it for?
5-1.
5-1, yeah. And I mean, I was gassed. I was going fucking ballistic when over that. But then Man City ain't been the same team this year for whatever reason. A lot of people blame it on the injury to Rodri, but I mean, we was all saying that Man City could field 2 teams in the league and finish first and second.
They're on a rebuild.
And only Rodri. There's something else not right there.
Man City's on a rebuild. That's what they're on. They're on they're slightly on a rebuild. Man City. They're going to be bringing in new players for next season.
Yeah, but I
And
mean,
I'll tell you something else as well. I noticed
they've got
that
these charges.
Marmouche.
I don't know what's happening with that yet, Anthony.
Yeah, but that Marmouche. Have you noticed when that Marmouche is in the team and he's playing alongside Haaland, it doesn't work. Have you noticed that? It doesn't work at all. So they've either got to play one or they've got to play the other, because I reckon the link up between them two, it ain't that great. So
No, I don't think
obviously,
Ireland's been shit this year. I know he had a little injury for a little while, but he ain't looked the same player at all. He's looked terrible this season.
Yeah.
Let's just catch up with the chat quickly, and then we're going to move on to Newcastle. AFC Vigilante, AFC Always, sorry, is saying exactly Arteta should have done that guard of honour all by himself at Anfield. He gifted them the title with his tactics. He's right. I was saying the same. He didn't even step foot on the pitch, did he? He didn't. They was moaning about Lewis Skelly and all, because apparently they're saying he didn't clap. But you see him straight at the start of it. He was clapping. He didn't. He went like, "You're not going to go, yeah, well done, Liverpool, are you?" He was just doing that. And they've been digging him out all season. These pundits, Carragher, Neville, all them mugs, digging out Lewis Skelly since he done the Ireland celebration. They've been fucking absolutely ripping him, mate. I thought it was I thought it was brilliant. Bit cocky, yeah. I get that. Getting under the noses of Man City fans and other people. But it's about the game. It's all right when Ireland throws and bangs the ball off the back of Gabriel's head, isn't it? That's all right, though. That's banter. Yeah. That's good for the game. He imitates his celebration and then he gets ridiculed for it. Oh, he's just saying his place. He's only a kid. He should be humble. Blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. Have a day off, bro. Berta will make the signings for the next manager, not Arteta. You might be thinking of Simeone. Who do you want? Let's hope so. Fingers crossed.
You've got to realise that there's going to be 2 summer transfer windows because of the Club World Cup.
Okay.
So yeah, they've got one. I think it starts the beginning of June and goes on to June the 10th, and then they take a break, and then they have another summer transfer window that carries on until the first week of September.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's good to know.
So if Arteta does what he did last summer and struggle to bring in 2 signings again, then we know who's in charge of this football club, who's making the decisions.
Yeah. Well, he made the. Why did he loan out Reece Nelson and loan in Sterling? What the fuck was that all about? Why bother with that?
I've got this thing about us bringing in Chelsea sloppy seconds because none of them do the business for us. You know, you look at the recent signings from Chelsea we've had: William Gallas, Peter Cech, David Luiz, Jorginho, and Sterling. Have they really? Have any of them? And Havertz. Sorry, I keep forgetting him. Havertz. Have any of them set the world alight when they've joined us? No.
Jorginho's been all right, I think. I mean, he's been the best out of them all. Jorginho, I think he's all right. He can calm it down. He can.
Yeah, but
he does a job.
He was.
He's not meant to be
too
scoring
slow.
10 goals a season or anything, is he? He's meant to send in the ship.
He slows the game down too much, and he got caught out a few times. You know, I remember the game against Tottenham last season. We'd just taken the lead, and he dwelled on the ball too long and gave it away for them to equalise.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I do remember that. He's done that a few times this season recently and all.
Yeah.
Saliba's been caught on the ball a few times. I mean, I think
that's because I think it's because Gabriel's out injured, because he's a completely different player when he's got Gabriel alongside him.
I've got to tell you,
I don't think that's the same. I think now that he's got Kvyat to play alongside, he hasn't got the same confidence, because Gabriel took charge at the back.
Yeah, he did. He's been our best defender. He has. He's been better than Saliba this season. You know.
Yeah.
He's got. Okay, the more you engage with Arteta fans, you realise it's just a monumental waste of time and energy. Even conversing with them, they will do somersaults to defend everything about Arteta, and they will defend. They do defend him. There is I think it's split 50-50, the fan base.
I know the toxicity is coming back, because I know a lot of people who were Arteta in are changing their opinions about him.
Yeah, there's been a few.
It won't be long. It won't be long until you start seeing planes flying over the stadium with Arteta out banners.
Yeah.
To them, and
the ones that I can't stand. One minute they're Arteta in, the next minute they're Arteta out. Like they're flip flops. I call them. Yeah. I'm not saying any names. But yeah.
Your finger's pointing the wrong way, dickhead.
I'm pointing to you. I'm pointing to you. There's my finger. That's you.
The wrong way. You got to do it the other hand. Do it the other hand. That's it. Now you're pointing at me. It's called me a flip flop because I changed my mind about Arteta. Look, I didn't want him in when we finished runners up the first time. I thought give him a season, and ever since then he's called me a flip flop.
Yeah, but this is my argument. How many people I keep hearing people say, "Let's give him one more year to prove himself." Right? How many one more years do we give him?
I've had enough. This was his last season for me.
You know, I mean, I watched Lee Judges on AFTV, and this is him. He's been saying, "Give him one more year. Give him one more year. I'm sure he can turn it around." And then, lo and behold, we're in the same situation as we are today. I mean, how many one more years does this man get before everyone realises he can't do the job? Enough is enough.
Exactly that. What he's done is he's had his apprenticeship at Arsenal.
Yeah,
he's done his apprenticeship. He's learnt the ropes. He put the cones out for Pep for Man City for 2 years or 3 years, or however long he was his assistant. He learnt from Pep a little bit. Now he's doing his work experience, his apprenticeship at Arsenal for 5 years, 6 years. How long has he been here? It'll be 6 years now, isn't it?
6 years. Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, he was shit when he played for us.
Yeah.
He was hanging on to Cazorla's coattails.
Yeah.
When we signed Cazorla. Okay. The only thing I remember of Arteta was that he was a panic buy. Because if you remember, we had just been spanked 8-2 by Man United.
Yeah, I remember that. I watched that game in Brighton.
And when Wenger didn't bring Wenger's only signing that summer was Gervinho.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get anyone else to come in. And on transfer deadline day, he shit himself and he signed Arteta, Mertesacker, and Andre Santos. And he brought in Benayoun on loan, who I liked. I really liked. I thought we would sign him.
West Ham.
I think he was with Liverpool. I think it was with Liverpool when he came to us. But yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, he was at West Ham. Sorry. Yeah, he was playing for West Ham. But And I thought he was half decent. I was amazed we didn't sign him permanently.
He
But
played for
those three
Chelsea as well.
signings,
He
yeah,
played for Chelsea as well. So that's another one
yeah,
you can add to the Chelsea list. But he
yeah,
was the one that I liked.
yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
as I said, he was shit back then. The only memories I've got of him when he played for us was when he missed that penalty against Fulham. He got sent off against Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League, and the rest of the time he was fucking injured.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah,
You know,
that's true.
and lo and behold, he's back at the club 10 years later as manager. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
No qualifications whatsoever.
Yeah,
And yet
absolutely.
he's the greatest.
Absolutely. Well, he's got the qualifications on the paper, but he's got the experience. Like, you know, what they called it when you do the writing part of it. What's it called? The theory, but you need the practical. He ain't got no practical experience before he come to manage our club as a manager, as an out-and-out manager, or as an assistant. But he needs. Apparently, he was supposed to be the best young coach in world football. We heard before
that's what he thinks he is. He isn't.
Yeah, but
This is what I mean.
Carlo Ancelotti he was out of work. At that time, we signed Mikel Arteta. That was when Carlo Ancelotti went to Everton. But when we signed him, Ancelotti was out of work. He was actually looking for a job.
Yeah.
Right?
Why did we pick up Carlo Ancelotti?
No.
Because exactly.
And Mourinho. Mourinho went to Spurs.
Everton would have been perfect for Arteta.
Yeah.
Everton would have been the perfect stepping stone.
I said that all along because he was a number 2 and he had no manager experience, so he was better off going to Everton to see what his managerial career was actually like, taking his first step into that manager's role. Basically, what Arsenal Football Club done, they appointed Mikel Arteta, which was a job that was way too big for him. It was way too big, and as far as I'm concerned, to a certain extent, it still is. So, do you know what I'm saying? So we were better off picking in Ancelotti, yeah. Let's see if we got him, and this was his last season, he won us a few trophies, right? Yeah. Fine, great. But then when Carlo Ancelotti would have left us, is bringing in that next manager, which that next manager would have been an elite manager because we would have been up there, we would have been winning trophies, we would have been going somewhere, and that's what you've got to do. You've got to replace a world-class manager with a world class or an elite with an elite. That's it. Yeah. You don't step down. Because when we first signed Mikel Arteta on his first season, he was on £6 million a year in wages. He's had 2 contract extensions, right? And that's gone up by 9 million in those 2 contracts on his wages alone, from 6 to 15, right? So this is what I'm saying. And then you look at the other managers, like who's the manager of Barcelona, Hansi Flick, and all this and that. They're on nowhere near the wages what Mikel Arteta's earning. So why can't we approach one of them?
Yeah.
I
agree. Absolutely agree. I think it's a scandal.
I mean, I find it amazing that he thinks he's the greatest manager in the world, and that we're the best team in the world, because quite clearly we're not. And what he said the other week when he said the PSG coaching staff told him that we were the better team in the 2 legs in the semi-final. Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh. What game was he watching? Mate?
What?
I mean, we did play a lot better in the second half of the second leg, but I mean, the game was already lost. It was lost, man.
And then when he said a week earlier that we had won 2 league titles under his managership, what fucking planet was that on? Because I don't remember us winning the league twice while he was manager.
No, absolutely. Let's just catch up with the chat quick. Burton needs to get an experienced winning manager, not a trainee. Yes, absolutely, FC Vigilante. AFC always got something in the chat from AFC always. I love him. Spurs fans singing, "We won the cup, you dumb Spanish pup, walking in an Ange wonderland." Wow. They're taking a piss out of us, aren't they, Spurs? Mike's in the chat. How you doing, Mike? He's an iPad manager. We have got one of his coaches. What do we call him? So iPad something. What's he called? What's his nickname? He's called iPod something or iPad something. Because iPod Albert. Albert something his name is. They call him iPod Albert or iPad Albert because he's always showing the iPad out and doing
Oh, right, yeah.
AFC Vigilante again. Arteta has no CV. He should have started at a lower league team before Arsenal. We've all said that. Said that, and Mike's put a dot, whatever that means. All right, Mike. Good to see you in the chat. I believe you've been in there before. All right, so let's talk about finally beating Newcastle. What did you think of that game, the pair of you? This ask Airport Albert. That's it, Vigilante. You knew what I was talking about. Airport Albert. That's it. I was relieved that we beat Newcastle. I know it meant nothing. We finished second. We're guaranteed second, basically, aren't we? Unless there's been like, is it Man City scores about 15 goals or something, and we get done about 8-0 at Southampton. I can't see that happen. But we're guaranteed second place with the victory against Newcastle. But it took us 4 times to beat them. What do you think? What do you think? Why do you think we haven't been able to beat Newcastle this season? And let's start with
because
Anthony.
Who? Oh, right, Andy. All right.
You, I said, why do you think it's been so difficult to beat Newcastle this year? 4 attempts.
You look at it. You look at it. Look at the players we've got in our team. How many players do you think that could walk into that Newcastle team? I mean, bloody hell! Everybody wants Newcastle's midfielders, and if it ain't the midfielders that they want, the midfield, it's the main man himself. Why is that the striker?
Yeah.
So that's
He was
probably the.
He was missing. That's what I was going to say.
That he was missing, yeah, exactly. But do you know what I mean? It proved. But listen, Newcastle still played well without him. They played well. They created chances. The only downfall with them, they just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. I mean, we've had days like that, and all other teams in the Premier League gets days like that. But I'll be honest with you, that Declan Rice, that in all fairness, that was a good goal. And I'm proud that he actually got on the, he got the winning goal. Because I'll be honest with you, if I'm going to bring it up next week, and all that, I still think Declan Rice and Gabriel, they were our best 2 players this season by a mile.
Yeah,
literally by a mile. But yeah, going back to the game, I'm glad that we got the 3 points. We scored a goal. We kept a clean sheet. That was the main thing. Listen, everybody is on about that. The game. Raya is now equal Sells, aren't he? The Forest goalkeeper for the Golden Glove. Both of them are top now with 12 clean sheets.
Clean sheets.
So we got Southampton and Nottingham Forest. Their last game of the season is Chelsea. So if they can get, but then when you look at it, we got more chance of keeping a clean sheet, and Raya can win that Golden Glove. But apart from that, I thought it was okay. You know, we did a job, and that was it. It wasn't majorly fantastic, you know, but
the goal was brilliant. Declan Rice's
goal. The goal was brilliant. The goal was brilliant. But I just feel we just need to add depth and quality to our team next season. You know, but listen, Lee, I'm happy with the win and all that, and I reckon it was decent. We have secured second place, but what did I see this season? When you look at the teams that got relegated, Leicester, Ipswich, and Southampton, this league this season was the lowest in points.
Yeah,
it was the lowest in points, and I'll be honest with you, if we beat Southampton next week, we finish on 74. And when you can compare that to last season, well, I think we were like 80 some points last season.
89, I think it was, or 88, it was something like that. Yeah.
There you go. So it proves now every season you've got to try and bring in player and just improve the score. Like every season.
I'll say something about Arteta, right? From his first season till last season, we've got more points every year. So that there was points wise, I know it was frustrating for all of us, and I'm not trying to, defend him in any way, shape, or form. Let's get that right. Don't get it twisted.
Oh, I
But
didn't
until
know.
this year, there was more points every season. So that's what it was basically based on. The top gooners was saying we've got more points every year, but this year, although we have finished second, it means nothing. We've regressed.
Flip flop.
Oh,
Flip flop.
yeah, I swear to God, we're going to fall out, bruv. We're going to fall out. Anyway, let's have Lawrence's thoughts on the Newcastle game.
It's not a lot. I mean,
If
for
you've got
me,
anything more to add,
the season was over when we got knocked out the Champions League.
yeah,
The Champions League was what kept this season going for us, because this manager keeps sacrificing domestic cup competitions. You know, the Carabao Cup was our path to glory. Had we had beaten Newcastle in that semi-final and gone to Wembley, I'm sure we'd have beaten Liverpool in the final. And he bottled it.
Yeah.
Because he's a bottler, right?
Yeah.
And as for the FA Cup, it's bad enough we were wearing a fucking Tottenham kit for that game. I hate wearing white.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand the call.
Was that something to do with the stabbing thing, wasn't it?
I hate when we wear that kit, right? Because you can't see the names or the numbers on the back of the kit, right?
No.
I mean, what's wrong with just putting a circle on the front of the shirt with a knife in the middle and a line going through it? Because that would send the same
like
message.
It's about
something like that.
It's about no red. Is it no red? The red symbolises blood. It's about something. I mean, I don't know.
This club should never be wearing a plain white shirt.
No.
Period.
We're all black then.
We are not.
We're all black or something. Do you know what I mean for that game? Not white. I agree. 100%. I think I actually done a watch along one year on this channel, and I was going off a lot. So why are we playing in the Spurs kit? I'm gonna have to check that, because I'm sure I said that we should not be wearing white. I'm sure I did.
Yeah.
I
was saying, right, we've never done well wearing that white kit.
No.
Since he's won the FA Cup in 2020, we've only won one FA Cup game at Oxford.
Yeah.
I mean, our record in the FA Cup in recent times has been poor. And as I said, the season was over after we got knocked out by PSG. So I couldn't really focus on the game last Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, I wanted Newcastle to beat us a full time, so it would expose this clown for what he is. He's a fraud. Yeah. I mean, I was hoping that Manchester City, Chelsea, Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa would overtake us and we'd miss out on Europe altogether. But that's not going to happen now, unfortunately.
Do you think they would have
I mean, I hate to say,
if we'd have finished sixth?
6 or 7.
Yeah.
I hate saying that because I love Arsenal. I want us to do well. But if it exposes this dickhead to be the fraud that it is, then I'm willing to do that. Because I know that as long as he stays manager of this football club, it's going to be a case of rinse and repeat. We're going to see the same thing again next season and the season after and the season after that, and for how long he stays on as manager.
Yeah,
and I keep telling people who can't see this for themselves, they're like drug addicts, they're like gamblers, they're like alcoholics. They know they've got a problem, but deep down inside, I can't get it right. They won't admit they've got a problem, but deep down inside, they know there is a problem.
Yeah,
I think they do know that this man is no good, but they're too scared to admit it because they think they'll rock the boat.
Yeah, well, we're out here to speak our minds, right? Say how we feel.
Yeah.
and don't care if we rock the boat. We want to rock the boat. We want him out of the club. We've seen enough. He's took us as far as he can. He has took us as far as he can. His last 3 seasons has been proof that he's took us as far as he can. The first 2, we finished, what was it, 8th, 5th, and then 3 times we finished 2nd.
Yeah.
What more? What proof do we've got the players? We've ain't got all the players, but we've had decent players. We've had great squads. These been under him. That under an elite manager, we could have won the title last year and the year before. If we'd have had an Ancelotti, if we'd have had, a winner, a Simeone, any manager that's a winner, we could have won the title the last 2 seasons. Not this year, obviously, because we're too far behind. But look how close we was last year by a point or 2 points. The year before, we was top of the league 95% of the season until we just capitulated at the end. I mean, he's took us as far as he can. He's proved that he's not an elite manager, and he's proved that he's not a good man manager either. You don't get on with no one. If someone stands up to him, he has them out of the club. If someone wants to have
I don't know if you saw, there was a commercial from Paddy Power where there was a professor teaching Lee Dixon, Peter Reid, and Peter Crouch. On football, and Lee Dixon said, well, I don't want Arteta to leave because we're in phase 214 of his 5-year plan.
I ain't seen it now, but a blinder.
I like that one.
But this is embarrassing that we've got former players
that
backing this manager.
Yeah.
Martin Keown, who drives me up the wall when I see him on Talk Sport. Ray Parlour, Ian Wright, David Seaman.
They're all legends, mate. They're all legends. But why are they? They're all getting paid. They're all getting paid by the club, not to slag him off.
Yeah, they're on the payroll.
Of course they are. But I mean, I love every one of them players. Ray Parlour, Robert Gray. I fucking loved him. What a battler. What a heart he had when he was because his career had a dip and then he fought back and then he was brilliant. He scored the winner in the cup final, didn't he? He was mustard.
That's right.
I loved him. Mustard player. Martin Keown, what a defender. Ian Wright, striker. My favourite striker before Henri comes to the club, obviously. At Bergkamp.
Yeah.
But I love Bergkamp, Henri, and Wright as my top 3 players at Arsenal ever. I know they're all strikers, all right. But Tony Adams, your old school players like that. Tony Adams. Yeah. I love David Rocastle, Brian Marwood, Paul Merson. I loved all them old players as well. But Paul Merson annoys me a little bit. He's the only one that annoys me a bit. But I know that the other players, like Ray Parlour, Ian Wright, Martin Keown, I know they're on the payroll, 100%, because they don't really say a lot of badness about the manager. They don't call him out.
Paul Merson's sound. He sees it how he is.
Yeah, Paul Merson. I just said Paul Merson, but he's a Chelsea fan, isn't he? So he's gonna.
And so does Tony Adams. So does Tony Adams. Tony Adams does the same. I mean, I watched him. I watched the video of the '98 season when we did the double.
Yeah.
And at the end of the video, Tony Adams is interviewed, and he says in football he doesn't like the word branding or rebuild because basically it's admitting that you've been shit that season.
Yeah,
that's true. You think about it like that. That's true. It's just an excuse, isn't it, for your failures? Oh, where it's a transitional period, or whatever they say. Do you know what I mean? Luca talks balls in the chat. How you doing, Luca? Let's just read out AFC's comment. Official. Arsenal cannot reach Wenger's 2015 or 2017 Premier League points total 75. Wenger won he won the FA Cup both years, didn't he?
Yeah.
Luca, there's a question
And
for
in
you,
the
Lawrence, in the chat. 1 minute.
yeah,
Yeah, we're okay, Luca. I hope you're well. Another Arsenal content creator there. Also, MK Don's fan, really. He does vlogs, goes to MK Don's games, but he's also, his second team's Arsenal. He does a bit of Arsenal content as well.
And what's his favourite quote, Lee? What's
Eh?
Luca's favourite quote?
what is the best
Oh,
Arsenal
this
double
manager.
winning?
This manager.
What is the best Arsenal double winning team? God, that's a difficult one because they were all good.
I would say for
You
me,
know,
because of my age, I would say
I'd
98.
have to say that the 71 team. I'd have to say the 71 team. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but that's when I began watching Arsenal. I started watching them in '68, you know, and I remember watching us win the Intercities Fairs Cup against Anderlecht in 1970.
Oh, yeah, that
And you could see
European Cup. That was the first cup we won in Europe, wasn't it?
yeah, the first
Bears
European
Cup,
trophy,
yeah.
you know, and then the following year we did the double, you know. I loved Charlie George. I loved Georgie Armstrong, Frank McClintock, you know, Peter Storey, the unsung hero. I wish we had a Peter Storey in the team today because he'd ruffle a few feathers in that dressing room.
Yeah.
Peter Storey was, you took your life in your hands if you got on the wrong side of Peter Storey. I'm telling you, literally. But I said the 98.
Go on, mate.
I remember the 98 team and the team of 2002 had their greats as well. You know, so it's very hard to say one team was better than the other because to do the double is an amazing achievement.
Really is.
Yeah. I mean, mine's 98, Lee, because obviously I was born in 79. So obviously I've read up and watched, you can watch on YouTube like the 71. But obviously, with me being alive then, I out of those years, I think 98 is the best one for me.
What, you saying I'm older than you, Anthony?
Sorry?
Was you born in 79?
Yeah, I was born in 79.
Fuck me. I'm older than you then.
Yeah, you're fucking ancient.
I can't believe it.
You're not ancient as me, mate. I tell you.
Listen, when I was a kid, I mean, I've said this before on the channel. I was more into boxing and karate than football. I never really started following Arsenal to the 88-89 season when we won the league at Anfield. My brother, who's younger than me, was a Liverpool fan. So I'm Arsenal. And that season was the first season because they was rivaling. I got right into it. I got right into it, and I fell in love with Arsenal that year, and especially when we beat them 2-0 at Anfield.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was a horrible thing that happened that year as well. Up at Hillsborough.
Yeah.
But that disaster, that was terrible. I mean, that's memories of me first season, really watching football and following football. I was about 13.
Do you know what Monday is?
It's anniversary.
36 years ago.
Yeah.
26th of May.
Yeah, it is. Because I done a video on it last year. I done a video on it last year about the anniversary. I'm sure I did. I did.
Yeah.
There's a question for you as well. You might know this, Lawrence. That's the record that Ian Wright broke. Cliff Bastin's record, wasn't it? Ian Wright broke his scoring record.
Yeah.
That's when he signed for Mexico, 1921.
I wasn't around in 1921 before anyone asks. Not that old. No, that's when Ian Wright lifted his shirt up.
Yeah.
Thinking he had broken the record.
And he had 179 or
179.
Yeah, but then he realised he hadn't broken the record. He had to score another goal.
Yeah, right, yeah. I remember, yeah. And he got it as well, didn't he? He got it.
Yeah, he got it.
yeah,
He got it.
Yeah,
But
it was
on
a
that
tap
last
in.
one, you think of it, it was lovely. That setup, that flick from Burkamp,
Yeah,
straight
Burkamp,
through, step
great,
straight
mate.
through to Ian Wright. It was but if you got a chance, you can watch it on YouTube, and you think of it. The ball comes in, and Burkamp, like with his foot, he just goes, he runs up to it, and goes donk, and that's it.
Yeah.
It goes straight into the path of Ian Wright, goes on and scores. It was brilliant.
Guna Gargamel in the chat. We are a worse English team in Europe. I never respected what Arsenal tried to in Champions League or Europa League, and Arteta should be fired by the bank holiday on Monday because Spurs won Europa. Yeah, we want him out as well, Guna Gargamel. Palace will win the Europa League before us. They get into the Europa League. They won the FA Cup.
Yeah.
What an achievement for Palace! The first trophy. Beating City in the final at Wembley, brilliant for them. I'm happy for Palace.
Yeah,
Another club that
me
Ian
too.
Wright played for. So
But
I'm
in
happy
that
for
second season as well, the Palace manager, he won the FA Cup in this second season, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, second
Yeah.
season.
You
So
know,
it's same as Ange.
the sad thing about this is now Tottenham have qualified for the Champions League,
Yeah.
and they'll also be playing PSG or Inter Milan for the European Super Cup, so they could have another trophy
Yeah.
by the start
Well,
of next
no,
season.
they get beat. They get beat. Barcelona or PSG
Yeah.
have smashed the shit out of them. I'm going to buy.
No,
I'm going to buy
PSG or Inter
Barcelona
Milan.
or
It's PSG or Inter Milan.
Oh, sorry, Inter Milan. Yeah, they beat.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're right, Inter Milan. I'm going to buy a shirt. I'm going to buy a PSG or an Inter Milan shirt. I'll wear it.
Yeah.
AFC Rays. We're going to wrap this up in a minute. We're just going to finish off this chat. Rumours are Eze could be going to Tottenham. If that happens, I will lose my shit. Never in a million years, man. Never.
Yeah,
he's an Arsenal fan. He's an Arsenal fan, Eze.
Yeah,
He's
but
admitted
guess
he's an
what?
Arsenal fan.
He's got a 60 million buyout clause.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's still got to sign the deal. He's still got to agree personal terms, isn't he?
Yeah, I know. But trouble is, though, it's like what I said. Now with Tottenham, they've won that Europa League, right? They got a European trophy. They got the money for that trophy. They got all the revenue, all the TV rights and everything. Yeah, they've got that. And also, they get extra on top of that now going into the Champions League. So they've got X amount of £1 million now, Tottenham.
Yeah, Daniel Levy won't spend it. He's a prick. He won't. He's like that. He's tight. He won't spend it. He won't. They won't spend big. Tottenham will not spend big. They never do. They never do. Well, they spend a lot of money over. They drag it out, but I don't think they're going to. They wouldn't spend 100 million on a player like. Say we bought Declan Rice 105 million. Tottenham wouldn't do that.
No, they wouldn't. No.
I don't think they do. Well, I don't think they would anyway. But anyway, we're going to wrap the show up. One final thing I've heard today. I just want to ask your opinions on it and would you do it or not? We'll just keep it short and brief. We'll start with Lawrence. I've heard through the grapevine, no respected sources or anything like that. I've read something, it come up on my phone on the One Football app, and I read the article, and it went on for ages, and it only told me the player that would swap with Arsenal and Brighton and doing a swap deal apparently, plus cash. And I got right to the bottom of the article. It was fucking long as well. It was boring me. Before they give me who the Arsenal player was going to Brighton for João Pedro, apparently, coming to Arsenal. Guess who the player was and what do you think about it? First of all, try and guess who the player is that's supposed to be going to Brighton. For a swap deal for João Pedro.
For João Pedro.
Cash. We've got to give him cash and this player for João Pedro.
I would say Ben Foster. I know it's wrong.
No.
No.
Any ideas? Any guesses, Anthony?
Going to Brighton.
From us to Brighton, swap deal for João Pedro. plus cash. We've got to give him cash, and this player apparently, and I wouldn't do it. For one, I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't do it, so obviously he's got to be a big name then. He's got to be a big.
It's not a big name. It's a player who's done all right this season. To be fair.
Fucking hell. Mourinho.
No. Kiwior.
Not Trossard.
Kiwior.
Kiwior.
Yeah. Kiwior to Brighton plus cash, and we'll get João Pedro.
But that Pedro, don't get me wrong, he's a good player, but I don't think he's at the standard of what. I don't think he's
another yeah.
But he's not the quality of what Arsenal wants. He's not the quality we need. We need better.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't believe any of this bullshit until I see a picture of the player actually holding up an Arsenal top.
I just wanted to
actually holding up an Arsenal top with his name on the back of it. I'm sick and tired of reading these fucking gossip merchants, right? And these people in our fan base who see articles like this and immediately they superimpose a picture of that player's face on an Arsenal shirt as if he's already signed for us. And I'm talking about these. I'm talking about these overseas fans in Africa, Asia, and out in the United States who have a wank in their sock the moment a player from another club.
Love it.
Who, as soon as they read that we're after someone, they've got to post a picture of that player in an Arsenal shirt straight off the bat.
Brilliant. But you know what? It's been a pleasure having you on, Lawrence, man.
Yeah, it's been great, Lawrence.
Appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me.
No problem. Listen, if you're in the chat and you want to come on any time we're live, you're welcome. I can post the link. Let's just finish off the chat before we say goodnight. I like to do about an hour. I don't like to carry it on too long. Eze would be a great signing for us. Yes, Gunnar Gargamel. Would you sign him? A quick yes or no, Anthony? Would you sign Eze from Palace?
All day long. Lawrence, get Odegaard out and bring him in.
Lawrence, would you sign Eze?
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, that's four of us that agree. Gunnar Gargamel. Anybody in the chat? Quickly put yes or no. Would you sign Eze? Excuse me. What is Tottenham's highest paid player? They spent 60 million on Richarlison. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of money for Spurs, to be fair. Crusty white socks. Arsenal fans should be demanding Arteta to fire by PSG. Did to what? Neymar, I think you mean there, didn't you? PSG had that front line of Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe at one stage, didn't they?
Yeah. MSN.
I mean, they had everything, and they were. I think Unai Emery was the manager when they had all them three, weren't he?
Yeah. He was the one that brought Neymar to PSG.
Yeah,
and he won in the league. You look at
100% yes for Eze.
You look at Unai Emery's CV, right?
Yeah.
When you see it, and all the Europa League, because he's won about 6 or 7 Europa Leagues, mate.
Yeah, he won the local in Sevilla.
He's brilliant, and I tell you what, it makes you think: why the hell did we get rid of him?
Yeah, well,
I guarantee you, he would have won us. He would have won us the league in one of those years. We finished second. He would have won us the league if he would have, because he wasn't backed. Unai Emery, he wasn't really backed.
No, he got us to the final of the Europa League when Chelsea beat us. It was him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
We got beat by Chelsea in Baku, wasn't it?
Exactly. What do you expect with having like Mustafi in defence and bloody Cole Jenkinson at right back? Do you know what I mean? We had a lot of in that bloody team.
That you've got to realise that team, some of the players down tools.
Yeah.
That's why they threw Emery under the bus, right?
Yeah.
Because I reckon if he had stayed, if he hadn't been sacked, we would have won trophies. Because look what he's doing to Aston Villa.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And
I
now
agree.
I especially point the finger at that dickhead Mesut Ozil because he was the instigator.
Yeah,
He started it all, and
Yeah.
Granit Xhaka, another
Yeah.
one. Because if you remember, Granit Xhaka got substituted against Crystal Palace, and as he was going off the pitch, he ripped his Arsenal shirt off,
yeah. His
and
armband. He threw the
popped
armband down.
it. Yeah,
Threw the captain's
and how
armband
he
on the
stayed
floor.
at that, because I hated Granit Xhaka. I mean, I don't know why we signed him because he was fucking shit. He cost us games because of his antics, right? And
Yeah.
yet this fan base worshipped him because he had one good season for us at
Yeah.
the end of his stay.
But mate, I'll tell you what. That season though, I've got to say that they moved him, didn't they? They done something. I don't. He sort of tweaked how he played a little bit, and he was. You know what? I've got to say, I thought that last season he had was a fantastic season. But I never forgive him for throwing the armband down. You go back on my channel, you'll see the videos. Granit Xhaka out, sack him there, kick him out of the club. I don't want him at the club. And I've done all them
I'll
videos.
tell you, I don't care. I don't care, right? The moment he did that, right, I'd have kicked him out the club. I'd have booked
He
a
would never have
taxi
played for me
to
again.
take him to the airport.
Yeah, he
You
would never have
don't
played
do
for me
that.
again. Arteta begged
Yeah.
him to stay. Arteta
Yeah.
begged him to stay after that. He begged
Yeah.
him to sign a new deal. That shows you the minerals on that fucking arsehole. It's fucking
Yeah.
Niags. It is Niags that he didn't fucking show a bit of backbone like he did when he fucking got rid of Aubameyang.
Yeah.
Look, why did he get rid of Aubameyang? Because he turned up late from training. He was
Yeah.
where was he? In France or somewhere? He weren't he visiting
Yeah.
a relative?
I think his
Dying
mum
in
was
the
ill.
fucking hospital or
His-
something like that.
Yeah, his mum was ill. Yeah.
His mum was ill, and he was
Yeah,
in
that was
Spain.
it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, AFC always. You're 100% right. George Graham would have gone bomb. See you later. Absolutely. Anyway, we've got to go. We've got to wrap this up. I've got to have something to eat. Bath, bed. Got boots out in the morning. Gotta go to.
Are you Rodney or are you Trigger? Which one?
The other geezer's Rodney. Lawrence, man, it's been a pleasure. You're welcome on the show anytime.
Yeah, big up, Lawrence.
Yeah.
Anthony,
Thanks again.
Anthony, thank you as always, and everybody out there, bless up. And I'll be doing a reaction video to the last game of the season. And next week we'll probably do a roundup of the season roundup video. We're going to talk about who made Champions League. We already know who's relegated, but we'll have a sort of next week's show. We'll do like a season roundup and talk about.
We're dipping into the season so far,
with everybody, not only Arsenal. Then we'll talk about what anybody else wants to talk about in the chat as well. So get your questions in, comment on the video. If you want us to do anything, you want us to talk about anything, put your comments in there. Don't forget, everybody, stick a like on it for me, and I'll see you next week.